The sting that changed everything. The sky above the alien jungle was deep green. Strange plants moved slowly in the wind, and the air smelled sweet, like honey mixed with danger. Vissa, a young alien girl from the Zanari species, moved carefully through the glowing trees. Her skin was soft purple, her long white hair tied back. She had come alone to gather healing herbs for her sick brother. She didn't expect trouble. But trouble was already watching her. Buzzing sounds filled the jungle. Most of them were normal, but one sound was sharper, faster, like a whisper with wings. Vissa paused. Her eyes moved left, then right. "Who's there?" She called out softly. No one answered. She took another step, suddenly sting. She gasped. Something small and fast had hit her from behind. A sharp, burning pain spread in her lower back. She cried out and dropped to the ground. The thing that stung her flew off into the trees. She didn't see it clearly, but it looked like a bee, only much bigger and stranger. Its body had glowing stripes and long needle-like legs. Her breathing got faster. Her body felt warm. Too warm. Vissa reached back to touch where she'd been stung. Her hand shook. The area felt swollen, tight, like her skin was stretching. She tried to stand, but her legs gave out. Her balance was gone. "What is happening to me?" she whispered. Her body felt heavy, especially her backside. It was swelling quickly. Fear grabbed her chest. Zanari didn't have defenses against alien insects. Her kind had lived in cities, away from wild nature, for generations. This place was full of things they didn't understand. She looked up at the sky. Her vision was blurry now. "Please, someone. Help." Miles away, in a small survival camp, a human named Jack was eating his last energy bar. He had been sent to this planet to study the ecosystem, alone, no backup. Just a radio, a scanner, and his instincts. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. A weak signal came in. Female voice, not English. But he could feel fear in the sound. A cry. Jack stared at the device. Local native, or a trick? He muttered. The voice came again, softer. A whisper of pain. Jack stood. He grabbed his med kit and rifle, just in case. "I'll regret this," he said, "but I'm not leaving her like that." The path through the jungle was rough. Jack pushed through thick vines and glowing plants. He saw giant flowers that opened when he passed. Bugs as big as his fist flew overhead. But he kept moving, following the signal. Back at the sting site, Vissa had crawled to a tree and leaned against it. Her breathing was short. Her suit felt too tight now, especially around her hips. Her lower body throbbed with strange heat. The swelling wouldn't stop. Tears filled her eyes. "I'm changing," she said weakly. Then, footsteps. Heavy, slow, not like any creature from this jungle. Jack stepped into the clearing and froze. A girl. Not human. She had glowing eyes and soft purple skin. Her body was shaking. "And hello," he said, unsure how to start. Vissa looked up, shocked. A human? She had heard about them but never seen one. And now one stood before her, tall, with tired eyes and strong arms. "Don't look at me," she whispered in shame, turning her face. Jack noticed her pain. The swelling. The fear in her eyes. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently. He knelt beside her. "What happened?" She looked at him, shaking. "Stung. A bee, not normal, hurts." Jack opened his scanner and hovered it over her. His face turned serious. "That's not just a sting. That bee, it's from the mutated species. It injects a venom that causes swelling, mutation, even mental changes," Vissa gasped. "Will I die?" "No," Jack said quickly. "Not if I act now." He pulled a small injector from his kit. "This might help slow the venom." Vissa looked into his eyes. She didn't trust easily. But something in his voice, calm, strong, made her nod. Jack gave her the shot. She winced, then sighed. The heat in her body faded a little. Better? He asked Dot. She nodded slowly. Still swelling, Jack looked away, trying to be polite. Yeah, I noticed. Vissa blushed, even through her purple skin. Please, don't leave me alone, he nodded. I won't. Above them, the strange bee buzzed again, watching from a tree branch, but now it wasn't the only danger coming. Jack built a small fire near the edge of the clearing. It wasn't for warmth, it was to keep away the jungle bugs. Some of them had too many eyes. Others had teeth. Vissa sat beside him, leaning against a thick root. She held her arms tight around her body. Her lower back still pulsed. The swelling hadn't stopped. It had even spread a little more round her, heavier. It made her movements slow and awkward. She tried not to cry. I can't go home like this, she said, her voice low. They'll laugh at me, or worse. Jack stirred the fire and glanced at her. You're hurt. It's not your fault. Vissa turned her face away. My people don't care. Appearance is everything. If you're different, they think you're broken. He didn't answer at first. He understood. Humans weren't so different sometimes. You're not broken, he finally said. You're just reacting. That sting did something new. It's not natural. It wasn't your choice. Vissa looked at him. But what if it doesn't stop? What if I grow more? What if my body keeps changing? Jack stood and grabbed his scanner again. He knelt beside her and scanned her lower back. The screen blinked red. His jaw tightened. The venom is still active, he said. My shot only slowed it down. It didn't kill it. Vissa's eyes filled with fear. So, it's getting worse? Maybe, he admitted. But I might have a way to stop it. There's a plant I studied last month, blue leaves, grows near water. Locals call it the mirror flower. It reacts to alien venom like a sponge. Then let's go find it, Vissa said quickly, trying to stand. She cried out and fell. To her knees, her legs weren't moving right. Her lower half was too heavy now. Her balance was gone. Jack rushed over and caught her. She fell into his arms. You're not walking anywhere, he said. Your body needs rest. Then leave me, she whispered. Go get the plant. Jack shook his head. Not a chance. What if something comes while I'm gone? He looked. At the jungle, dark shadows moved between the trees. Eyes watched them from above. He had only one choice. I'll carry you. Vissa's eyes went wide. What? You're not that heavy, he lied. We'll move slow, but I can get us both there. She didn't argue. Her body had already given up. Okay, but don't look at my... I won't, he said. Quickly, but he couldn't hide the small smile. He gently lifted her, cradling her in both arms. Her body was warm against his chest. Her long hair brushed his neck. She clung to him like a scared child. But even then, she kept her head low in shame. They walked into the jungle. Each step was careful. The ground was uneven, and the plants sometimes reached toward them like hungry fingers. But Jack kept his rifle ready in one hand. Vissa held tight. In the other, time passed slowly. After what felt like an hour, they reached a shallow stream. The moon above them reflected on the water's surface like silver glass, and there on the edge grew the plant, blue leaves. Just like he remembered. There, Jack said. He placed Vissa gently on a soft patch of moss, then moved to pick the plant. But just as he reached for it, a growl dot from the shadows behind them. Vissa turned her head. What was that? Jack raised his rifle. His eyes searched the trees. Something stepped out. It looked like a mix between a bear and a spider. 8 legs, long claws, glowing mouth. The alien bee might have been bad, but this thing was death with legs. Vissa screamed. Jack didn't wait. He fired. The shot hit the creature in the chest. It roared but didn't fall. It charged forward. Get down, Jack yelled, diving in front of Vissa. Another shot, then another. The creature slowed, stumbled. and finally collapsed inches from them, dead. Jack's hands shook. He turned to Vissa. "You okay?" She nodded, frozen. Her hands clutched her swollen back. "You saved me," she whispered. Jack exhaled. "You're not alone anymore. Remember that." He turned back to the blue plant, cut a few leaves, and returned to her. He crushed the leaves gently and rubbed them into a cloth. Then, very carefully, he pressed it against the swelling. Vissa gasped at first, then let out a shaky breath. "It's cooling down." Jack smiled. "Good, let it work. We'll rest here." They sat together in silence as the wind blew through the leaves. But deep in the jungle, more buzzing sounds began to stir. The bees were not done yet. The night air grew quiet. The jungle around Jack and Vissa calmed after the monster's death. Only the sound of the stream whispered in the background. The crushed blue plant still pressed to Vissa's swollen lower back. She leaned forward. On her elbows, eyes shut, her breathing steady now. But inside her body, something strange was happening. Jack noticed it first. He had just finished checking his gear when he heard a soft sound like popping bubbles. He looked over. Vissa flinched. Her body twitched slightly. Then she let out a strange noise, something between a sigh and a groan. Jack rushed over. "Vissa? Are you okay?" I don't know," she whispered. "My body feels strange, not painful, just hot again." She pulled away the cloth. The swelling was still there, but now it shimmered slightly. Her skin glowed with a faint light. A pattern appeared, pulsing slowly beneath her skin, like veins of glowing honey. Jack's eyes narrowed. "That's new. What is it?" she asked, worried. He scanned her again. The scanner beeped 3 times, then flashed red and gold. "This isn't just swelling," Jack said. "The venom's not killing you. It's changing you." Vissa gasped. "Changing me how?" He sat beside her. "I think it's mutating parts of your body, but not in a harmful way. It's activating something inside you, like your genes are waking up, parts of you that were asleep." Vissa looked down at herself, shocked. "You mean it's making me evolve?" He nodded slowly. "Maybe, or maybe this venom is meant to unlock something." "Why me?" Jack shrugged. "Maybe it chose you. Or maybe you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time." Vissa laughed a little, though her face stayed serious. "It stung my butt, Jack. That doesn't sound very wise." He chuckled. "Hey, maybe that's where the power was hiding all along." She blushed and turned away. "Don't joke." "Sorry," he said. "Just trying to keep you calm." But inside he wasn't calm. This wasn't normal. His research hadn't shown anything like this. The venom should have caused fever, maybe swelling, and then passed. But with Vissa, it had triggered something else. As they sat in silence, Vissa suddenly gasped again. Jack turned sharply. "What now?" "I can hear something," she whispered. He frowned. "Hear what?" She closed her eyes, focusing. "Not with ears. In my head it's like voices or thoughts." Jack leaned in. "You're hearing thoughts?" She opened her eyes slowly. "The bees, they're calling." Jack stood up. "No, that's not good. That's not good at all." Vissa pulled her knees close. "They're angry. One of their queens was killed. The one you shot wasn't a random creature. It was a guardian." Jack felt cold all of a sudden. "And now they're coming?" She nodded. "They want me. The venom marked me." Jack didn't waste time. He packed the gear quickly. "We're leaving. Now. But where?" She asked. "There's a cave not far from here," he said. "Rock walls. No bugs can get through. We hide there until I figure this out." He helped her up again, lifting her gently. But this time, she felt lighter. Jack noticed too. "Huh, the swelling's going down?" Vissa nodded slowly. "Maybe, or maybe I'm changing shape. I feel stronger, like my body's Adapting. Jack carried her through the forest, moving quickly now. Buzzing sounds filled the air. Louder this time. Dozens of bees zipped through the trees above, glowing wings slicing the night. Vissa gripped his arm tightly. They're searching. He ran faster, heart pounding. Soon, the cave came into view hidden behind thick vines. Jack slipped inside, breathing hard. The space was cool and dry, walls made of black stone. Safe, for now. He placed Vissa on a flat rock and lit a small lantern. She sat quietly for a moment, eyes closed, glowing softly. Then she spoke. I think I understand something now. Jack looked up. What? The venom wasn't meant to hurt. It was meant to awaken queens. Jack blinked. What? Vissa stood slowly. Her movements were steadier now. Her body glowed from within. Her eyes had changed, brighter, golden, alive. I'm becoming one of them, she said. A queen. Jack stood slowly, unsure. But you're not a bee, he said. You're Zenari. I was, she replied. But the venom. It's rewriting me. Jack looked at her closely. Does that mean they'll stop hunting you? She nodded. They're still confused. But they'll know soon. I can speak to them. I think I can. Control them. Jack stepped back, both amazed and cautious. What if they don't accept you? Vissa looked up at him. Then we fight. Suddenly, buzzing filled the air outside. The cave like thunder in the sky. They were here. Vissa took a deep breath. It's time I find out who I am now. Asterisk. The cave shook with the sound of buzzing. It was not just a few bees, it was a swarm, hundreds, maybe thousands. The walls trembled like thunder was rolling just outside. Jack held his breath and stared at the entrance, ready with his rifle. But Vissa didn't flinch. She stood tall now, her glowing skin shimmering brighter than before. The swelling in her lower back had changed. It wasn't just size anymore. It had shape, strength, power. Her eyes sparkled golden. They're waiting. Jack whispered, You sure about this? She nodded. They don't want you. They want to see if I'm one of them. Jack's finger hovered near the trigger. And are you? I don't know, she said, walking slowly toward the cave entrance. But I feel them inside me, not just their thoughts, their rules, their instincts. She stepped into the light. Outside the air was thick with bees. Glowing wings, sharp stingers. They flew in perfect circles, forming a wall of motion. But as Vissa walked forward, the buzzing changed pitch. It softened, slowed. They were listening. Jack followed her, one step behind. Vissa raised her hands slowly. I'm not your enemy, she said, her voice echoing unnaturally. I was stung. Your venom is inside me, but I survived. The bees hovered closer. One large drone floated forward, almost face to face with her. Vissa blinked. You see me. You know me now. Jack couldn't hear what was being said between them, but he saw the change. The bees slowly lowered themselves to the ground. Their wings stopped. Silence. They've accepted me, Vissa said, turning toward Jack. But there's more. More? He asked. They want me to lead them. Jack stepped forward. What? Why? The venom was made to find a queen, Vissa said. Someone strong enough to survive it. My body was the right shape, the right strength. They've been waiting years for someone who could rise. Jack frowned. So now what? You just become their queen? Vissa looked away. That's the problem. If I accept, I stop being me. My old life, my people, my brother, I'll forget it all. The queen's mind is pure instinct. It will take me over. Jack's jaw clenched. Then don't do it. But if I don't, she said softly, they'll see me as a failed queen and kill us both. A cold silence filled the space between them. Jack walked up and placed his hand on her shoulder. There has to be a way to fight that. Vissa looked up at him. You still care? I carried you through a jungle full of monster bees, Vissa. I'm not giving up now. She smiled weakly. Then help me stay, me. They made a plan. Inside the cave, Jack pulled out the last of the mirror flower leaves. He began to grind them with water. Vissa sat across from him, holding her knees. Her body twitched now and then, like something inside was pushing to escape. I can feel it, she said. The Queen's voice. She wants control. Jack didn't. Stop mixing. You're stronger than her. You proved it when you survived the sting. Vissa shook her head. She's not just strong, she's patient. She whispers when I sleep. She says I don't belong to the Zinari anymore. Jack handed her the mixture. Drink this. It won't stop the transformation, but it'll slow the Queen's grip. She drank it. The bitter taste made her gag, but she kept it down. Then the pain began. She curled on the cave floor, gasping. Her skin glowed brighter. Strange markings crawled up her arms, patterns that looked like bee wings. Jack held her hand through it. I'm here, he whispered. For hours, she fought. Her body shook. She screamed once, and the bees outside all lifted into the air at once. Jack thought they might storm the cave, but then silence. Vissa opened her eyes. Golden, but still hers. She sat up, breathing hard. I fought her. Jack smiled. You won? She nodded. I didn't become her, but I took her power. Now I can lead them, as me. Outside, the bees moved. Again, not with anger but with purpose. They bowed in midair, wings flat, waiting for orders. Jack stood. What now? Vissa stepped outside. Now I lead them, but not to war, not to take over. We'll find a new purpose. She turned too. Jack, you saved me from losing myself, he shrugged. You saved yourself. I just reminded you who you are. She smiled, tired but proud. Come with me. I'll need someone who tells me the truth, he chuckled. You mean someone who isn't afraid to say when your butt's glowing? She laughed. Exactly. They walked into the jungle together, Queen and companion, but far away, in a hidden hive. Another voice stirred. The old Queen wasn't dead, and she wasn't pleased. The jungle felt different now. The air was still thick with heat and buzzing wings, but there was something new. Order. The swarm obeyed Vissa. They moved in perfect patterns above her, calm and silent unless she called. Jack walked beside her through the deep woods. He couldn't believe it. The same girl he had carried days ago, weak and scared, was now leading a swarm like a queen. But she hadn't lost herself. She still smiled at him, still cared. That gave him hope. They reached a hilltop covered in bright moss. From there, they could see the forest stretch for miles. Vissa raised one hand. The bees flew upward in a spiral, signaling safety. It was a peaceful moment, but it didn't last. Suddenly, a loud humming filled the sky. It was deeper than normal buzzing, rough, like broken machinery. The bees around Vissa stopped midair, confused. Some even dropped lower, twitching. Jack looked up. What is that sound? Vissa's face turned pale. No, it can't be. From the north, shadows moved across the treetops. A second swarm appeared, but these bees were different. Their wings were torn, their eyes darker. And at the center of them, something massive floated forward. It was her. The old Queen. She was huge, 3 times Vissa's size. Her body was cracked, covered in old scars and broken armor. Her wings buzzed unevenly, like she had forced herself back into the air after near death. But her eyes still burned with power. Vissa stepped forward, her hand glowing faintly. You were supposed to be dead. The old Queen's voice echoed without speaking, deep in their minds. You took what was mine, little thief. My venom. My swarm, my throne. Vissa trembled but stood tall. You left them. You were weak. You let the jungle forget you. Because I was betrayed, the Queen growled. Stung by my own kind, I fell, but I didn't die. I waited. And now I return, with rage. Jack raised his weapon, but Vissa placed a hand on his arm. She's not here to fight you. This is between queens. The bees from both sides circled in the air, waiting. A silent war had begun. The old queen floated closer, her swarm like dark smoke behind her. Give it back. The power. The command, or I'll take it from your bones. Vissa's eyes glowed gold. I didn't ask for your power, but I earned it. I survived the sting. I fought your control. I stayed myself. Can you say the same? The old queen hissed. You're not strong. You're soft. A human had to carry you. A real queen needs no one. Jack stepped forward. She doesn't need me. She chose me. That's strength. The old queen's swarm stirred, confused by Jack's words. A human standing beside a queen? It was unheard. Vissa stepped forward again, now only a few feet from the old queen. I will not surrender. But I won't kill you unless you make me. Foolish child, the old queen snarled. Then feel my pain. In a flash, she launched a venom spike from her tail. It hissed through the air. Vissa dodged barely. Jack fired his rifle. The shot struck the queen's side, sending her spinning, but not down. The battle had begun. The skies turned black with wings, swarm against swarm. Bees clashed midder, stingers flashing, wings tearing. Screeches echoed above as soldiers fought. For their queen. Vissa's bees fought harder, but they were still young. Confused, the old queen floated high, charging another spike. Jack aimed again, but Vissa acted first. She jumped into the air higher than Jack thought possible. Her glowing skin lit up the sky. She spun once, releasing a burst of golden light that hit the queen mid-dash flight. The old queen screamed. Vissa landed hard, shaking, barely standing. But the queen was falling. Her wings gave out. Her swarm scattered in panic. She crashed into the trees, vanishing in the shadows. The buzzing stopped. Silence returned. The sky cleared. Vissa's bees hovered quietly, waiting. Jack rushed to her. Are you okay? She smiled weakly. I think. I broke her connection. Is she dead? He asked. I don't know, she said, but even if she lives, she won't control them again. The bees circled Vissa gently, not in fear, but in respect. She looked at Jack. I did it. I protected them. He smiled. You're their queen now, no doubt. She leaned on him, tired. But I'm still Vissa too. And I want to stay that way. He nodded. We'll make sure of it, together. But far below the forest floor, under cracked roots and soil, the old queen opened one glowing eye and smiled. *Eep inside the jungle. Silence had returned, but it was the kind of silence that holds its breath before a storm. Vissa rested under a tall glowing tree, her body wrapped in soft vine leaves made by her own bees. Her swarm flew slow circles around her like a living shield. She could feel the jungle watching her now, not just the bees, but every creature that had once bowed to the old queen. And she knew. It wasn't over yet. Jack sat a few steps away, cleaning his rifle, but his eyes kept drifting to Vissa. He had seen her grow from a scared, swollen girl into a fierce leader. But now, something was troubling her again. Something deeper. I know you're thinking too much, Jack said, breaking the silence. Vissa didn't look at him. She's still alive. I feel her under the roots. She's waiting. Watching me. You beat her once, Jack said, calm and steady. You'll beat her again. Vissa finally turned. Her golden eyes glowed softly. You don't understand. Jack, I didn't just beat her. I became part of her. Jack's hand froze over his rifle. What do you mean? Vissa stood slowly, her long hair falling over her shoulders like silver light. When I took her power, I didn't push it away. I used it. And now it whispers in my mind. Not just instincts, ideas, orders, plans, control. Jack stood too, stepping closer. then fight it. Like before, Vissa shook her head. It's not like before. My body is changing again, stronger, sharper, but my thoughts, they want to rule, not guide, not protect. Just rule. Jack stared at her. But that's not who you are. I know, she whispered. But it's so easy to forget. Just then, a buzzing sound echoed from the south. It wasn't just one group of bees, it was hundreds of other hive creatures. Giant flying wasps, blade-winged beetles, all drawn toward Vissa's presence. They weren't attacking. They were waiting. They're not even mine, Vissa said. Stunned, but they feel me now. They're following the Queen's signal in my blood. Jack stepped in front of her, then stopped sending it. I can't, she shouted, eyes glowing brighter. It's automatic. The old Queen made sure no one could resist it. And now it's moving through me. Jack could see the fear in her, not fear of death, but fear of losing herself, of becoming something else entirely. He placed his hands on her shoulders. Vissa, listen, I've seen you at your lowest. I've carried you through the worst. You were scared, but you stayed. You. This Queen inside you, she's a ghost. She's power without soul. Vissa shook her head. What if she is my soul now? No, Jack said. She's a parasite. You are Vissa, not a throne. Not a weapon. She stared into his eyes, then slowly nodded. Then help me take control before she does. Jack took a deep breath. How? I need to go to the old hive. The real one, where she was born. Where the Queen's power started. If I face her spirit there, maybe I can burn her out forever. That sounds dangerous, Jack said. Vissa smiled. That's why you're coming, he laughed. Of course I am. They traveled through thick, twisted woods until they reached a black mountain. Hidden behind it was a deep sinkhole, almost like the jungle's mouth. It was the place all hives avoided. The nest of origins. Dark energy pulsed from the stone walls. Jack felt it in his chest, like a heartbeat that wasn't his own. This place is alive, he muttered. Vissa nodded. This is where the first Queen grew. The venom, the stingers, the swarm-mind, it all began here. Inside, they followed winding tunnels, walls covered in old wax and dried venom. The air smelled like metal and ash. Then they reached the chamber. In the center was a giant cocoon, cracked, empty, but still glowing, and behind it, the old Queen stood, not flesh anymore, but a ghost, a shape made of venom and hate. You returned, she hissed. To kneel or to fade? Vissa stepped forward. I came to end this, to burn you out, the Ghost Queen laughed. You are me now. The more you fight me, the more I grow. Vissa closed her eyes. She reached deep into herself, into the venom, into the heat. And there she found two hearts. One belonged to the Queen, the other to herself. She grabbed the Queen's essence, held it tight, and whispered, you can keep your power. Then she crushed it inside her mind. The ghost screamed, exploding into dust. The walls shook. The cocoon shattered. Jack rushed to Vissa, catching her before she fell. You did it, he whispered. Vissa opened her eyes, still glowing, but warm again. I'm free. But Jack looked worried. What? She asked. He pointed upward, from the cracks in the hive ceiling. Something else was rising, something worse than a queen. The broken hive ceiling groaned above them. Vissa leaned into Jack's arms, her body weak but her spirit still burning. She had destroyed the ghost of the old Queen, but the mountain wasn't done. Something older, something buried deeper, was waking up. Dust fell from the cracks as a low growl rumbled through the chamber. The air turned cold. Not the cold of wind, but of fear. Jack raised his rifle again, slowly. Vissa stood on shaking legs, her eyes fixed on the hole forming above them. What now? He whispered. Vissa's voice trembled. This place. It wasn't just the first hive. it was also a prison. A prison for what? Vissa looked at him, for the first mother, the one who created all queens. Even the old one feared her. From the shadows, a shape crawled down the walls, massive, slow, and wrong. It was made of bone and chitin, its body dried from age but pulsing with unnatural life. It didn't walk. It glided. Eyes covered its sides. Some open, some stitched shut. The first mother had no voice, but when she moved, Vissa felt her in every bone of her body. You broke the chain. You woke me. Now you must finish it, or be consumed. Vissa clutched her chest. She could feel the venom in her veins begin to stir again, wild and angry. She's trying to take back the swarm, she gasped. Jack stepped beside her. Can you stop her? Vissa looked down at her hands. I don't know. I'm not like her. I never wanted power. Then don't use power, Jack said. Use choice. Vissa looked at him, confused. Jack stepped forward, facing the first mother. You created queens. You made venom. You forced change, but she's different. She chose not to become you. And now, she chooses something else. The creature paused. Its many eyes turned to Vissa. She closed her eyes. For a moment, she listened not just to the venom, but to herself. Her true self. Then she opened her mouth and sang. It was soft at first, almost like a hum, but it was not the queen's call. It was not an order, it was an invitation, outside. The mountain, the bees heard it. The swarm froze midder. Inside, the first mother hissed in pain. Her body twitched. Her form began to crumble. Vissa's voice grew stronger. I'm not your daughter. I'm not your queen. I am me, and no venom will change that. The walls of the chamber shook violently. The first mother screamed without sound. Her ancient body cracked. Her eyes burst like overripe fruit. And then she collapsed, her dust blowing into the winds of the hive. Silence returned. Jack rushed to Vissa, who had fallen to her knees. Hey, look at me, he said gently. Are you okay? She looked up, tears on her glowing cheeks. I think it's over. He smiled. No, I think it's just beginning. A week later, the jungle was quiet again. The swarm had changed. No longer slaves to a queen's will. They flew free, but still followed Vissa's gentle guidance. She had become something new, not a ruler, but a voice of peace. A bridge between humans, alien species, and creatures once thought impossible to control. Jack stayed with her, not as her protector, but as her partner. They built a camp near the hilltop. From there, Vissa helped unite smaller insect tribes. The venom in her had stabilized. She no longer glowed with pain or heat, but with calm light. One evening, Jack stood beside her, watching the twin suns dip below the trees. You could rule this world now, he said. Vissa shook her head. No, I want to heal it. He chuckled. And here I thought you'd be queen of everything, she smiled. I already am, but only in the ways that matter. She turned to him. Thank you, Jack, for never giving up on me. He nodded. You gave me something to believe in again, and maybe something more. Vissa stepped closer. You mean this? She leaned forward and kissed him, soft, warm, and full of life. The bees above hummed gently, floating in a heart-shaped spiral. From the trees, strange animals peeked out, curious but unafraid. The jungle, once full of danger, now breathed with peace. But far beyond, across the stars, other hives stirred. They had felt the death of the first mother. And the rise of something far more powerful. Not a queen, but a choice, the end.